The United Center, the house that Jordan built. This Saturday, it becomes the most dangerous stop on the road to WrestleMania 42. And we are in the backyard of the best in the world, but the atmosphere in Chicago is going to feel more like a powder keg than a homecoming. You also have AJ Lee returning to the ring. And of course, you got CM Punk defending a title against a man who says the champ is clinging to a relic of the past. Not to mention two cages filled with chambers waiting to change the lives of 12 superstars. It's Kyle's Pro Wrestling Escape, and today we are going to break down every match, every participant, every possible swerve. We're going to escape the ordinary, and now we're going to go inside the chamber. However, before the steel lowers, let's look back. February 24th, 1991, WCW Wrestle War. Some of you probably weren't even born yet. We saw the Four Horsemen in one of the most brutal War Games matches ever against Sting's team. Back then, the cage was a way to settle blood feuds, to basically end careers sometimes. And today, the Elimination Chamber is a way to make them. We've gone from the match of the beyond to ESPN and Netflix era's first major stunt PLE. The steel hasn't really changed, but the stakes have. All right, it is time for our main event. We're going to jump into the Elimination Chamber 2026 card, previewing each match with predictions, and maybe we will talk about that crate to see what we think could be inside of there. So we're going to kick off the first match, which I think will be the women's chamber match. I'm going to call this the Tiffy Time Gauntlet. We're going to have 6 women enter a shot at WrestleMania 42. And here's the field. Kicking us off, you got Tiffany Stratton. She is the it girl. She is the betting favorite for a reason because she has the center stage gimmick down to a T. And it does fit the Vegas vibe of Mania 42. I do think she's going to enter last, and I would like to see her hitting a prettiest moonsault off of a pod. That would be pretty awesome, and I think that will just cement her status as a main event player. Next up, you have Rhea Ripley, the mommy of the division. She doesn't really need this win, but she needs the dominance. I think that's kind of lacking because I think they've been putting her on the back burner with the tag team with Io Sky. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Rhea start at number 1. And she runs the gauntlet to prove that she's still the most over female wrestler and arguably the best female wrestler on the roster today. Next, you have Alexa Bliss, the wild card. She's been playing psychological warfare with the roster. Now, I expect her to use the dark side to others to possibly eliminate themselves. Asuka, the veteran expert. She's here to be the workhorse and provide the high-speed transitions like she always does. I could see her eliminating a younger talent like Kiana James before being taken out by a powerhouse. Next up, Kiana James, the business mogul. Now, remember, she just qualified by upsetting Charlotte Flair. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card. I surely didn't. And she might buy some time with the pod opening or hide in the shadows for a cheap steal to eliminate somebody. It's typically what they do with these younger wrestlers getting into the chamber for the first time to kind of get that sense of I eliminated somebody. But I'm absolutely impressed with Kiana James. I don't think anybody thought she was as good as she was in the ring. Obviously being the sidekick, really the manager to Julia. And I think for Kiana James, this is going to be a big moment for her. I do think she'll deliver. She clearly has the athletic ability and knows what she's doing. Next, you have Raquel Rodriguez, the powerhouse. She qualified by beating Io Sky and Kairi Sane. I do think she's going to provide a holy shit type moment, maybe power bombing somebody through the plexiglass. I also really think she's come a long way. She might be one of the most improved female wrestlers on the roster. I think she's finally owning who she really is, and she can be a dominant force just with her size alone. Now, who am I going to pick? I think it's too obvious. I really do think Tiffany Stratton's going to win to set up another match against Jade Cargill at WrestleMania 42 for that title. Could be wrong, but I think the betting favorite is going to be Tiffany Stratton. All right, next up, we have the Women's Intercontinental title. That is current champion Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. I kind of see this as the mom versus the godmother. I do think this will be the most emotional match on the card in terms of storytelling. You have AJ Lee is back in her first singles match in over 10 years. Becky is currently playing the gatekeeper, claiming that AJ ruined her life by leaving the division for so long for her to have to carry for a decade. Now, for AJ Lee, it's her hometown. The crowd, I do think, will obviously pop crazy and go nuclear for her. And if she wins, it could be considered the greatest comeback story for a female wrestler in modern history, or I mean, not even a female wrestler. But does it make sense? Only if she's staying full time. I don't know contract details. I'm not one of those dirt sheets. I don't look up all of that stuff. If I see the headline, oh, okay, that's good to know. But I don't really dive into it to see if her contract was publicly released in terms of if it's part time, full time, whatever it may be. But if she's not full time, I don't see her winning. And because of that, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I do think if she loses, let's say in a 20-minute classic, that actually does more for her for a redemption arc. And maybe that could be the final chapter of her wrestling in ring career. Now, flipping it to Becky, she's at her at most paranoid stage right now. We all know she reclaimed the title back from Maxine Dupree, and Becky isn't ready to just let go. I do think Becky will win. That'll be my prediction, playing the villain. Maybe she wins clean, maybe she wins cheap, but I do think she will exploit AJ's ring rust and take advantage of that in the 11-year gap from AJ being in a match in the ring. So again, Becky Lynch, I do think retains. Now, post match, are we going to see a sign of a show of respect? A 100% do not see that happening. Just I see Becky leaving with the gold. All right, next up we have our men's chamber. Generational warfare is kind of what I like to look at it. Now, the winner of this chamber is going to face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 42. And we know our lineup is Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, LA Knight, Trick Williams, Jey Uso, and Javon Evans. Now, starting at the top, we're going to go through each character or each wrestler. We have Cody. Now, he's obviously the heart of the match. He has to win to finish the story 2.0, 3.0, whatever it may be, against Drew. Now, if Cody loses, that 2-year build could hit a wall, and I really don't see him losing, but who knows? Sometimes Triple H does some wonders. I do think, not saying that if Cody wins, it's going to be a bad decision. I'm always all for, changing it up a little bit, but we are on the road to WrestleMania, and it's almost an expectation to within the last, half decade to see Cody in the main event at WrestleMania, whether it's night one or night two. Next, we got Randy Orton, the 10-time Chamber veteran. Isn't that crazy? 10 times he's been in the Elimination Chamber match. He's the Apex Predator here to provide that RKO out of nowhere to, I think, a midair Javon Evans. Now, do I think Randy, I think would be my second choice to win. And part of that could be me wanting him to win, but I could absolutely see Randy holding that title again in a few months at WrestleMania. I mean, is he the same wrestler? No. Nobody's the same person they are 15, 20 years later as they were, especially from an athletic standpoint. But he still has it. I mean, I would not be mad to see Randy Orton winning the chamber match. Next, you got LA Knight, the megastar. He is still very over. I do think he will be the most popular man in the match, but does it make sense for him to match up with Drew? He'll get a massive and a final 3 spot remaining. I just don't see that storyline building. I mean, I guess we do have almost a little over a month and a half to build that. It could be, but lately with the storylines, it's a long, incredible build. Some storylines are great with that. Some storylines are awful with that. The best ones are definitely the Bloodline. So we'll see. I don't see LA Knight winning. Moving on to Jey Uso, the Yeet Man. Now, he qualified over Bronson Reed, who suffered a torn biceps, or reportedly a torn biceps. Now, I think Bronson Reed was supposed to win. And I think most people thought that. Because if you look at it, the way that the wrestlers in this chamber match, it's very heavy on the babyface side. So I think having Bronson Reed in there as another heel would have kind of balanced it out a little more. But I think they had to make a split decision, and I give a shit ton of credit to Jey Uso and El Grande Americano for having their final 5 minutes of the match on the fly. And I don't know who the ref's name was. I know he's been in the business for a long time, but him going back and forth, kind of covering his mouth, really making it hard for us to see. But clearly, you could see he was trying to kind of call out the next spots, or at the very least, hey, here's who's going to win the match since Bronson Reed cannot. Now, going back to Jey Uso, he is the sentimental. I don't know. Is he the sentimental favorite anymore? Maybe 6 months ago, and or if he was going against Gunther, but I don't think he's a favorite. Now, the real question is he gonna? Oh, who am I kidding? Yeah, his song's gonna hit again in the middle of the match. Now, but him winning would be consider a massive swerve for the sake of a headline, like a really really cheap heat, and I that will not happen. Oh God, please don't let that happen. Next, you have Trick Williams. Whoop that trick. Now, he is the future. He's had a strong showing against Cody or Orton and his initiation into the main event scene could really catapult him. I think he's got the look, he's got the charisma. He can definitely speak on the mic really well, cut great promos, and I think he's very athletic. And I- I'm just ready to see how they build, his career and his storylines. And then we have the 21-year-old phenom, Javon Evans. I mean, you can't say enough things about this kid. He's 21. He's a man, but still, compared to the stage he's at now, he's with some grown men there. Now, I do see him doing some form of a 450 splash off of the pod. That's going to go viral on every social media platform. We're going to see the popular content creators, their reactions, probably that next Monday Night Raw, which is fine, which is great. I love seeing that. But Javon Evans, as talented as he is, I don't know where they're going to go with him after Chamber. I don't know if maybe they could slide him in on a tag team to kind of have him elevate the tag team division with just his pure athletic ability and being able to tell a story during a match. All right, so I'm going to go safe here. I think Cody will win. I do think the final two are going to be Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And as much as we want to see a heel turn from either of them, I don't see creative and or Triple H pulling the trigger on that right now. I think that's a big gamble, especially on the road to WrestleMania. Now, the last match we have on the card right now is the World Heavyweight title. That is CM Punk, current champion. Versus challenger Finn Balor. Now, this is the rematch. This is the Prince versus the Second City Saint. Now, remember, Punk went back a few weeks ago and said that the Judgment Day is Finn's anchor. Finn says Punk is a clinging relic. And I do think Finn is tired of being the father of the Judgment Day. And he's 25 years in his wrestling career. And I think he wants another singles run with the title. Now, could it be a last one? No, I don't see that. I think he has way too much left in the tank. At least it looks like it in the ring. But God, we gotta stop letting this guy lose. I mean, at some point, the fans are gonna have to take over like they did for Daniel Bryan. Be like, no, enough's enough. Like, we need this guy to get some wins, or even get some sort of belt on him. Um, Now, the only way I think Finn Balor will win, and I don't think they would let CM Punk lose clean to him, it's going to be some form of Judgment Day interference. If Finn wins, it'll turn the Roman versus Punk Mania match into a chaotic triple threat, kind of like we did with Daniel Bryan. I can't remember what WrestleMania it was, but with that Batista and Triple H involved and Randy Orton. Now, imagine Finn Balor wins in Chicago. That place is going to go absolutely balls to the wall insane. You might see things getting thrown into the ring. And now I do realize there's a very strong allegiance to Finn Balor on social media, but when you go to somebody's hometown, especially to the level of CM Punk, who is always repping Chicago, I just don't, man. Of course, my devil's shoulder is saying, "Hey, let's let Finn win. Let's see what happens." Burn it down. No pun intended. But then, really, storyline wise, it makes zero sense. We already know Roman and Punk. It's going to happen, right? So throwing that in there is like, really, we're gonna do this again? But now let's go. Let's come back to reality. CM Punk's gonna win. Clean GTS in the center of the ring. It's Chicago. You don't book Punk to lose in the United Center unless it's to start a riot. And they typically don't go to the United Center very often. But you remember, the United Center is located on the West End downtown or West Loop, or just outside the West Loop. Regardless, They used to always go to the Allstate Arena, which is outside of downtown Chicago, about 30 minutes. So going right into the center of Chicago is going to be incredible. So I do think CM Punk retains. Safe bet, but kind of doesn't make sense if he loses. Now, this mystery crate, I think it is. Let me just go ahead and get on the soapbox real quick. This mystery crate is absolutely ridiculous. It is stupid. It is stupid, stupid, stupid. I don't have any other words to say. It's such a cheap way to just buy time to figure out what you're gonna do, because you can't tell me, as soon as they showed this crate a few weeks ago, they knew exactly what they're gonna do with it. They had no they I don't think they have any clue. I think they're just biding time, kinda like they do this long-term storytelling, like, they buy their time trying to figure out what they're going to do. Hey, I'm allowed to be critical, all right? So relax. So, back to this crate. Remember, it states, "Do not open until 2/28," which is the day of Elimination Chamber. Now, when is the box gonna open? Is it gonna open itself, like Gobbledygooker back in the Survivor Series? Again, most of you probably weren't alive. I think I was, but I was like 2 or 3 at the time, so I don't remember it live, obviously. That was one of my cringe moments back around Thanksgiving time. Go back and watch it. But is the box gonna open itself? Is Adam Pearce gonna open it? Is a wrestler, is somebody gonna run backstage and have like some sort of, altercation? Somebody gets thrown into the crate and busts open. So what's gonna be inside of it? That's what we need to try to guess. Now, the internet, I sound like an old guy here, a boomer. Social media is having a field day because everybody is trying to guess what it's going to be. I've seen Chris Jericho. I've seen an AEW star, another AEW star. Sorry, I've seen a new title announcement. I honestly don't know. And let's say it's Chris Jericho. What's the meaning behind that? Does that really make sense? I don't know. I'm not holding my breath. I would recommend to set the bar very low in terms of your how excited you're gonna be to when that crate opens, because just don't. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, for the sake of it, but I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. We shall see. I think it might be Chris Jericho. I'll go with that, which still makes no sense to me. This crate thing is just outrageous. Anyways, that is the road to Chicago. No more talk, no more predictions. Go ahead and tag me with your upset of the night on Instagram, and let's see if Chicago can survive this night. Remember, escape the ordinary when you can. All right, I'm out. Enjoy Chamber.